Princess and the Pea. Long ago and far away there once lived a prince. He was dashing and handsome, with a fine cloak and a shiny steed, and a kingdom full of loyal subjects who cheered him wherever he went. But for all of this, the prince was sad. He couldn't help thinking that there was something missing from his life. Then one morning it hit him.
That's it. What's the one thing every prince needs?
A cloak?
No,
A steed?
I have one.
Loyal subjects?
Not even close. I need a princess.
With that single thought humming in his head, he went to see his mother, the Queen, and announce his plan.
I shall travel to the four corners of the globe to find a princess.
The Queen, who was something of an expert on princesses, having been one herself, had one piece of advice for her son. Just make sure she's a real princess. There are plenty of fake ones out there. So with the Queen's words of warning ringing in his ears, the prince set off to find a princess. And find them he did. He found them everywhere, in castles and palaces, bewitched by witches and imprisoned by dragons. But in every case, there was always something about them that wasn't quite right. And so it was with a heavy heart that the prince finally returned home, alone. The Queen tried her best to comfort him. Cheer up. You know what they say, a son always has his mother. But nothing she said made the prince feel better. He just sat around the palace feeling sorry for himself. He never wore his fine cloak, and he hardly ever rode his steed. He didn't even care if anyone cheered anymore. All he wanted was a princess, a real princess. Then one dark and stormy night, as the lightning flashed and the rain swept down, there was a knock at the castle door.
I see you had the bell fixed while I was away.
The prince hurried down and opened the door, and there stood a beautiful young woman. Her hair was all wet and dripping, her clothes were damp and muddy, and her boots were so full of water that she sloshed when she walked. But she said she was a princess. A real princess, and I need a bed for the night. The prince ordered the maids to bring her fresh clothes, and when she was changed and dry once more, even the Queen agreed that she most certainly looked like a princess. But is she a real princess? The prince had no doubts whatsoever. He had fallen instantly in love with her and was sure she was as real a princess as there ever could be. After all, she walked like a princess, and she talked like a princess. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. And she even played cards like a princess. Royal flush, I win! The Queen, however, was still not convinced. I shall set her a test. Then we shall see how much of a princess she really is. So the Queen crept off to the young woman's room, and there she put a pea on the wooden base of the bed. On top of that, she ordered a mattress to be placed, then another, and another. 20 mattresses high she piled, and 20 eiderdowns on top of that. Naturally, the young woman was quite surprised to see her bed towered so high. But thinking it was local custom, and being the polite princess she was, she said nothing, but climbed the ladder and settled down to sleep. Sweet dreams, child. The next morning, the Queen asked the girl how she slept. Terribly. I hardly slept a wink. The bed was so uncomfortable I tossed and turned all night. On hearing those words, the Queen knew at once that the girl was indeed a real princess. Only a real princess would be so delicate a feeling that something as tiny as a pea would discomfort her under all that bedding. Honestly, I'm black and blue all over. And so the prince and princess were married, and the whole kingdom rejoiced. And as for the pea, well, they put it on display for all the world to see. We're told it's still there to this day, unless, that is, someone's eaten it.